Good morning, and thank you for tuning in to the Andrew Tate Show, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. We've got a great show for you guys today. We're going to be covering ESPN and CFP's $7.8 billion extension, the Dallas Cowboys free agents. Then we decided we're going to give you guys some extra oddities of the day. Yeah. Before we start, I'd like to ask that you like and follow the show. Also, we get a number of questions from the viewers that come in during the show. So to ensure that your question gets read on the air, I ask that you use the tips and donation link with your question. The tips and donation link is streamelements.com/gsmcsportsnetwork./tip. Let's put your question at the top of the list so that I can see it, and it also just really helps the show. Sorry, we did like a quick change of plans, and I didn't update my notes, and so
wait a minute. Listen. People are gonna get behind the scenes even more here. What did you say the first segment was? Because I don't think that's right either.
Is it not?
Wait a minute. What is it? What did you say the first one was?
ESPN has agreed to the $7.8 billion extension, but the CFP has not.
That was not the story. I will roll with that story anyway.
That's what I was sent. That's what I was sent. I was sent that.
I fear no evil. So let's do it. I'm very curious. You're going to definitely have to bring me up to speed. I have to listen to you clearly on this one. So okay. I am not prepared for whatever story you're about to talk about here right now.
Well, this is what I was sent yesterday, so I just want to say that.
Then you had 3 articles that were sent to you, right, about college football. I can't believe we're having this conversation on air. It was about the SEC and the Big Ten working together and the college football playoffs. That's what we were supposed to be covering.
Yes, but I also got this one as well, and this was the last one that was sent to me, and so I thought...
Nope, that was not what we were supposed to be talking about.
Well...
Surprise! Surprise! Listen, it goes with it, but as I've told you before, I am at the end of the internet, so I fear no conversation anyway. So, okay, behind the scene, a lot of times segment our third and fourth story, I have no clue what we're doing. Mm-hmm. The first 2, I tend to know what we're doing. Yeah. Today, there's like 3 stories I have no clue what we're doing. So let's do this.
Alrighty. Well, okay. So the ESPN has agreed to a $7.8 billion extension, but the CFP has not. College football's future could receive more needed clarity this week. At least that is the hope of many involved in planning the sport's much anticipated expanded postseason. ESPN has agreed to terms with the representatives for the college football playoff on a 6-year, $7.8 billion extension to televise the event through the 2031-32 season. But the commissioners and the presidents that run the CFP have not yet agreed on any aspects of the format beyond the 12-team model in place for the next 2 seasons, setting up a pivotal few days of meetings. The term agreements negotiated between ESPN and the firm CAA Evolution, which represents the CFP, have been in place for months, but the CFP leaders still need to vote on the deal for it to take effect. Those leaders' inability to reach consensus on topics they were hoping to settle before signing has been described by some executives involved as a mess.
Okay, I understand what has happened here now. So we're doing the behind the scenes in front of. We're having a family conversation behind in front of company, let's say today. Okay. So normally I send Faith like the same story, but 3 of the same stories with different components. Yesterday, we sent her two of the same stories, with the third story being an additional layer to it. Faith took the additional layer to the story,
I thought that's what
and
we
that
were.
made that the story. So I did not read this, but I know plenty enough about this. And there's enough overlap that I can go with our original topic and this topic. So we're good to go here. Okay. So this is interesting because of the fact that ESPN has agreed to for a contract for the college football playoffs for after the 2024 season. But the big issue, they've made an offer, but it hasn't been assigned and agreed upon, because the model of what the college football playoffs is going to be hasn't been decided. So yesterday, all the colleges, all the conferences got together, and this is that situation where the SEC and the Big Ten working together threw a surprise on the college football playoffs. Number one, a few things that were, and this is all kind of leaked information, so the SEC and the Big Ten hasn't come out and said, hey, this is what we want. But Washington State's commissioner came out, chancellor came out and said this, plus a couple other people that were in the meetings. First off, day before yesterday, they agreed to go with the format of, instead of going 6+6 model for the college football playoffs, they went with a 5+7, meaning 5 automatic bids plus 7 at-large bids for the college football playoffs. Now, the very next day, which was yesterday, they decided to have a meeting for the format going after the 2025 season. And one of the things that was kind of a big surprise is the fact that they talked about how the Big Ten wants it to go to a 14 or 16 team model because they are the largest conference. The SEC is kind of on board with them, as the SEC and the Big Ten are kind of working together. And the big surprise, what has been speculated that is happening here, is that the Big Ten and the SEC are saying the current model is the SEC champion gets an automatic bid, gets in. The Big Ten champion gets an automatic bid. That is not good enough. No. There has been proposals that of the playoffs, the SEC wants 4 automatic bids, and the Big Ten wants 4 automatic bids. Meaning, if they stay with a 12-team playoff, there would only be 4 playoff spots available. Meaning, let's say the Big 12 gets an automatic bid and the ACC gets an automatic bid. That would be 10 playoff spots guaranteed, leaving only 2 playoff at-large bids for the rest of college football. And that includes Notre Dame, which is the biggest name of them all. So this has been a big contentious kind of issue. There's been a lot of pushback because it literally leaves the ACC, the Big 12, the new Pac-12, which would most likely be Washington, the Mountain West, and the Pac-12 merging together, two spots for all those schools, not to mention all the Group of 5 schools in there, which makes a very, crazy situation. So they're battling. The Big Ten and the ACC the Big Ten and the SEC are really flexing their muscle. They want multiple guaranteed spots, as much as 8 guaranteed spots for 2 conferences, which none of the schools want to agree on. What they want to agree on is the top 4 teams get an automatic bid, or the top 5 or the top 6 teams get an automatic bid. And right now, the SEC and the Big Ten are flexing their muscles and saying no. And yes, the SEC and the Big Ten are the two biggest conferences, but what they're asking for is absolutely unfair. Imagine, Faith, if you were going to Clemson or Florida State or let's say Texas Tech or Baylor or one of these other universities, and they're saying pretty much, hey, you guys only get, 2 out of 50 chance to make it, while these other conferences get pretty much all the spots. And not only do they want almost 8 spots, but they want a majority chunk of the money. They're kind of creating a monopoly on the college football playoffs that's going to give them an absolutely unfair advantage. They're looking at it as, if you look at this and you say the Big Ten and the SEC has all the money. The Big Ten has the most, and the SEC has the second most. So they're already able to have the best facilities, pay for the best coaches. Now name, image, and likeness gives them ability to pay more for the players. Then they're going to say, hey, we're going to get a lion's share of the money on top of that, and we're going to get a lion's share of the playoff spots. How is that fair for the American Conference, the Mountain West, the Pac-2, I said Pac-2, and then the major ones, the ACC, the Big 12? How is it fair for all those other schools when they're going to take 8 of the spots? Does that sound fair to you as a person who goes to Baylor? I mean, not to Baylor, but to Georgia. Ooh, I had you transfer. You're in the transfer portal.
Fair at all. I mean, if one of these other teams does really well, there's still a chance that they're not going to get into the playoff at all, and that just doesn't seem fair. Like, I feel this should be based on skill, right? That's
okay.
how it should be.
Let's give a crazy scenario with this. You go to Georgia. Georgia lost to Alabama, and they didn't get in. Didn't feel good, did it?
No.
At all. Sucked, right?
Right.
Imagine this. Notre Dame, the biggest, richest of them all. Richer than Ohio State, way richer than Alabama, way richer than Georgia. Bigger history than Alabama and Georgia. Alabama maybe, but on the close to the same level, but not really. Imagine if you're Notre Dame. You go undefeated all year. You're the number 1 team in the nation, and you don't even get a bye. The team, let's say, I'm talking like Missouri in the SEC, who has 2-3 losses, just so happen to be, they get an automatic bid because there's 4 SEC teams that are getting in. Then you turn around. Now Notre Dame is undefeated. And then you look and let's say Ohio State's in from the Big Ten, Michigan's in, let's say Oregon's in, but like a 2 or 3 loss Iowa gets into the playoffs because they got 4 spots. The number 1 team in the nation, Notre Dame, they would get in because they would get an at-large bid, but they wouldn't get a bye. They would have to win 4 games to win the national championship. Is that fair to a school like Notre Dame?
No.
Is that, when you're talking about 8 spots taken up, and then you say, let's say from there, the next, all the conference champions, the major conference champions. So the Big 12 champion gets in, let's say the ACC champion gets in. Well, if there's someone maybe with undefeated or an undefeated Pac-12 team could easily be skipped out of the playoff on a 12-team playoff, and there's Missouri with 2 or 3 losses, they're getting in. But this Pac-12 team who's won all their games, had a tough schedule, maybe they played Georgia this year and they beat Georgia, but they still can't get in because that's 10 of the 12 spots will be taken up by automatic bids. That is not what when they were talking about doing the college football playoff, that is not what should have been designed. Now, going back to, this is what we were originally supposed to talk about, Faith. Going back to what you were talking about in here. With this, ESPN has already made an offer which has been kind of sort of verbally accepted for the television rights for the college football playoffs. ESPN is like, hey, we need an answer on what the future college football playoff model is going to be. If not, we're going to have to pull this offer because we don't even know what's going on, but everyone is fighting, and you can understand and see why everyone is fighting. Because if you're in the ACC, if you're in the Big 12, if you're in the Pac-12, the American, the Mountain West, you're like, holy crap, this Big 10 SEC kind of, it's not a partnership. Those two teams working together, they're asking for too much. We're just getting scraps over here. Yes, they are the biggest 2 conference, but not by as much as they're making a claim to be. They're going to monopolize the college football playoffs. And right now that seems bad. But then let's say they give in. It means the doom of those conferences. If you're a football player and you're saying, I can, the Big 10 and the SEC have more money, better facilities, you have a better chance to make it to the college football playoffs. They're getting 8 teams in. I can go to the Big 12. I may never see the playoffs now because of the way it's set up. God forbid if you're foolish enough to go to the Big 12. I mean, the Pac-12, which is a merger between the Mountain West and the old Pac-12, or you're at the American. It is slim to none that you have any shot at a 12-team playoff. So if you go to if you look at it and you go the Big 10 route, which is Big 10 wants to go to a 16 playoff, and I think the SEC is on board with this because they are now working lockstep together. They realize they have a really good chance of really controlling things. So even if they go to a 16-team playoff, it's still going to make it harder for these schools to get in. So they don't want to agree. ESPN is like, hey, we need to get things in place so we can prepare, or we're going to have to pull this television contract deal. And so it's making for, things have not been decided. The only thing that is decided is 2024 and 2025. Everything else is up in the air. And I am very curious to see what happens because things were supposed to have been decided last night and nothing was decided. Everything is just crazy. So do you see why that was our starting story?
Yes. That was my mistake. Sorry.
No. I'm just giving you a hard time because it's just because at first when you said that in the leader, I'm like, what the heck did she say?
Yeah, this is.
What do you think about this?
I don't understand why the Big 10 and the SEC are trying to monopolize this whole thing. Like, what's
Listen, you're the biggest, baddest guy on the block. You're like, listen, there's only so much cake, and we want 3/4 of the cake. Before everybody got an equal slice.
Mm-hmm.
And they're now looking around like, oh no, we got power now. There's 8 slices of cake. we're taking 6 of those suckers and we're leaving 2 slices for everybody else.
Yeah.
It's that kind of a thing. It is really, the last few years of college football is like this weird soap opera, this weird reality show. Like, you couldn't write this. If you wrote this as a story, it is messy as I don't know what. And for someone that was on the outside looking in until you came over to GSMC, it's kind of surprising what's going on, right?
Yeah.
And you're literally in the heart of the SEC. You're at Georgia, 2 of the last 3 years national champions, Georgia, and you didn't realize how much stuff was going on.
Nope. I do now, though. And it's kind of cool because you threw me for a loop, which you if I was remotely sleepy or when you started announcing that, I was like, whoa, wait a minute. I'm not prepared for this. What is she talking about? But then I realized what you were talking about. So I just kind of made 2 stories into one. So you're totally fine. Alrighty, guys. Well, with that, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to be discussing the Dallas Cowboys top free agents on the offense.
Wait a minute. I didn't agree to that. No, I'm just joking. I'm totally joking on that. Sorry, Faith.
Oh, is it Friday yet? Alrighty, guys. We'll be right back.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits. I'm losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip. You choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?
Alrighty, guys, welcome back. Earlier, we were discussing the SEC, the Big Ten, and then went a little bit into ESPN and the college football playoffs. And now we're going to be talking about the Dallas Cowboys top free agents on offense. But before we do that, I just wanted to remind you guys to like and follow the show. We get a number of questions from the viewers that come in during the show. So to ensure that your question gets read on the air, I ask that you use the tips and donation link with your question. That link is streamelements.com/gsmcsportsnetwork./tip. This puts your question at the top of the list so that I can see it, and it also just really helps the show.
All right. I want to say this. Guys, you do not realize how much fun it is to work with Faith. Faith just makes me laugh this whole time, even all the messages in between, her facial expressions and everything. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's definitely fun to work with Tate, but when you've already messed up once and he was like, wait, I didn't know we were talking about that either. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm 2 for 2.
That look was like, what? No. You totally had that, like, I swear this is what she sent me.
Okay.
All right.
So the Dallas Cowboys top free agents on the offense. So it's difficult to call Coach McCarthy's first season as a play caller for the Dallas Cowboys in 2023 anything but a success. The Cowboys led the NFL in points per game, 29.9, and finished 5th in yards, 371.6. Dak Dak Prescott led the NFL in touchdown passes. C.D. Lamb set team records in catches and receiving yards. He and Prescott were finalists of Offensive Player of the Year. Second-year tight end Jake Ferguson had a breakout season, 71 catches, 761 yards, and 5 touchdowns. After a slow start, veteran wide receiver Brandon Cooks finished with 8 touchdown catches. Tony Pollard finished with 1,500 yards rushing. It wasn't all perfect. The run game was middle of the road. The pass protection had issues. Wide receiver Michael Gallup did not get involved much. The 14 rushing touchdowns were 10 fewer than in 2022. The Cowboys will need to be better in 2024 offensively and will have some decisions to make regarding their free agents. Of the 16 players set to become unrestricted free agents on March 13th, 6 are on the offensive side of the ball, which is Tyrone Smith, Tony Pollard, Tyler Biodas.
I can't give you that one. Tyrone Smith, I got you, but the next one, I'm like, okay, go ahead.
Rico Dwaldy.
Rico, okay, I know who Rico is, okay.
Yeah. Sean McKeon and
they got a lot of players they got to sign, okay?
And, yeah, a lot of six out of the 12.
All right. Here's the problem with the Cowboys. I think the Dallas Cowboys offense was spectacular last year. And you look at the numbers and you look at the stats and everything, and they were nothing short of amazing. Tyron Smith, I think you have to sign him. But the Dallas Cowboys have some really tough decisions. They're in trouble. And the reason why they're in trouble, it isn't because of all the players that are free agents. It's because of Dak Prescott. Dak has been a model citizen for the Dallas Cowboys. He's had great regular seasons. You know, he gets beat up because of the lack of performance in the playoffs. This was maybe one of his worst playoff appearances. But he was a MVP candidate for this year. There's a lot of players that Dallas needs to sign. The big problem is everything that I am seeing, the Cowboys' top person they have to make a contract with is Dak Prescott, because next year Dak becomes a free agent. So in essence, pretty much Dak is the number one free agent to sign this offseason. The problem is Dak, from everything I'm hearing and from his actions from the last contract, Dak wants to reset the market. Everything I'm seeing, Dak wants $60 million a year to play, which means a lot of the guys that you're talking about on the Dallas Cowboys cannot be signed. Even with the salary cap going up, there's going to be a lot of players that they're going to lose. This is that crossword moment for Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys. If you're a Cowboys fan, and guess what? I am a Cowboy fan. This is the moment that shapes what happens to the Dallas Cowboys. If Dak is 100% determined to reset the market and ask for $60+ million a year, the salary cap is going to be right about $220 to $240 million. That means a fifth of the entire salary cap goes to Dak. There's going to be a lot of players that are going to leave, and the Dallas Cowboys are going to slide. The Redskins, Commanders, the Washington Commanders, not the bad name, but the Commanders are going to be. I think a lot of people are going to be surprised how well the Commanders turn things around. Philadelphia is still Philadelphia. Yes, they kind of stumbled into the playoffs, but they were strong most of the year, and I foresee them fixing a lot of their issues. And it all comes down to what the Dallas Cowboys do about Dak Prescott. Now, before we go into more about Dak Prescott, one of the things, if they could keep that team together, the one area that they need to address is the running game. Yes, Tony Pollard rushed for 1,000 yards, but it really wasn't. That offense was maybe the best in the NFL, but the running game was not great. I think either Dallas needs to go out and draft a running back, or a lot of people talk about bringing in Derrick Henry. I wouldn't bring in Derrick Henry strictly because the Dallas Cowboys already have cap issues. You do not want to come in and bring in a $14 to $15 million running back that is actually older. He is a stud. He is an outright stud, but not for 14 to 15 million. Now, I just, when you talk about this, Faith, and you're talking about a running back that's expensive at 14 to 15 million, but the market rate for Dak Prescott is going to be 60 million. Quarterbacks it's crazy what quarterbacks are demanding nowadays, and they're going to get it. Whether the Cowboys pay Dak or someone else pays Dak, Dak is going to get the 60 plus million. Make no mistake about it. I think it's time that the Dallas Cowboys make a long, hard look at Dak and say, when you look at the history of what's been going on, the Cowboys have been first round bumped out of playoffs, first round bumped out of playoffs, second round bumped out of playoffs, missed the playoffs here and there. What they're doing hasn't worked. Is it time for them to start thinking about pulling the plug and maybe resetting? And the best way to reset is not to spend $60 million on a very good quarterback. Patrick Mahomes is a great quarterback. There's a difference. That's a quarterback that is, you pay the 60. He got a $500 million contract and he's worth every penny of it. But when you look at the fact that Dak is going to be making $60 million a year, if you split that over a 10-year period, that's a $600 million quarterback. He's paid like a Hall of Famer. But is the Cowboys really playing like a Hall of Fame team? I say the answer is no. The Cowboys have a lot of weapons. You have to, I think the smart move is to keep those weapons and maybe not pay a Dak Prescott. He's at $50 million on his contract there. He has a non-franchise tag. So at the end of this year, you can't franchise tag him. You cannot trade him. So the Dallas Cowboys are stuck with Dak at this contract. Either they can renegotiate the contract, but that kicks more money, dead money on the salary cap for years to come, or you do a brand new contract. The Cowboys are kind of held hostage with Dak. I think if it was me, and I'm talking as a fan, not a general manager, not an owner, Jerry Jones, who's in his 70s, who's looking at his mortality and saying, I want one more Super Bowl. Do you say, hey, we don't pay Dak, and it kind of resets their franchise and maybe they don't win for a little while? Or do they keep going all in with Dak? And they're saying they're all in this year, but in order to be all in this year, you have to re-sign Dak. How this goes to what the conversation is, if you don't re-sign Dak, the cap hit that's for this year, I think it's going to be like $60-70 million. It's going to be a cap hit for Dak. If the Cowboys sign Dak, they can spread that out over the next 3 or 4 years, which then some of these players they can kind of re-sign. Jerry Jones has been very big on keeping a lot of the players, keeping players that he drafted in-house, keeping them with the Cowboys. And that's what the Cowboys model has always been. So the Cowboys are in a bit of a pickle. They're going to have to sign Dak to keep the players. They're going to have to re-sign Dak to more money than he's worth, which means then I'm going to say it, than he's worth. I like Dak a lot, but not 60 million. They're going to have to sign Dak to the 60 million, 62, 63 million dollar package, just so that they can spread it out over a number of years, so that they can sign the Tyron Smith, the Tony Pollards of the world. CeeDee Lamb is coming up. CeeDee Lamb's gonna break the bank too. You can't have everyone on the Dallas Cowboys break the bank. CeeDee Lamb, the Cowboys have to sign CeeDee Lamb. They're gonna have to sign Dak. The Cowboys are in a big bind when it comes to being able to sign their players in the salary cap. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You have, the salary cap is a hard cap. So you only have so much money that you're allowed to spend on players. And all these guys are going to want top dollar. It's going to be, Dallas is going to have, if they don't sign Dak, they're in big trouble. But if they sign Dak, I feel like they're in big trouble. At some point, I feel like you have to just rip the Band-Aid off and say, what's happening with Dak hasn't worked. I would love to see them, and this is a guy who is a Dallas Cowboy, Dak Prescott fan. I would love to see them have Dak play out his contract this year and part ways with him, strictly on how much. The reason why the San Francisco 49ers are so tough, because they have so many players under contract. They have so many players that they've been able to sign. They've been able to add a Christian McCaffrey here, sign Deebo Samuelson. They've been able to sign so many people because they have a quarterback. Do you remember what I said Dak Prescott's commanding? $60 million a year. Brock Purdy, I think he got paid $900,000
Yeah, he's not even
year.
$1 million yet.
Right. Now, the same amount of money must be spent by all the teams, but you have one person that's getting $900,000. It makes it easier for you to sign a lot of your key players, bring in extra weapons so that they can win. And then you have the Dallas Cowboys, who I think Dak Prescott made $53 million this year. He's going to make about $53 to $55 million. This 53 last year, and I think it's like right around $55 million this season coming up, with a possible signing of $60 million plus for the foreseeable future. Do you see how that kind of handcuffs a team?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's gonna be hard. I don't know how the Dallas Cowboys maintain. Jerry Jones is right. It is an all-in year, because I think part of the reason why Jerry Jones said it is an all-in year is because I think secretly they're going to see what happens with Dak. If they win the Super Bowl, Dak's going to get like $70 million a year. If they don't, I could easily see the Cowboys just saying, you know what we're doing is not working. We need to reset the franchise. I think the Dallas Cowboys should reset the franchise, sign their young players, sign a lot of their up-and-coming players, and maybe start looking for a cheaper alternative at quarterback, because Dak Prescott is a very good quarterback, but he's not a great. When they create the Hall of Very Good instead of the Hall of Fame, Dak Prescott's at the front of that list. The Hall of Very Good is Dak Prescott is king of that, but Hall of Famer, he is not. But Dak Prescott is going to make more money. When you look at the highest paid players in the history of the NFL, Dak Prescott's going to be at the front of that line, and with very little to be shown for it. And I am, like I said, I am saying this as someone who likes this Dak Prescott, who would love to see him with the Cowboys, but he's not doing what Patrick Mahomes or Tom Brady is doing and putting winning first. Tom Brady is famous for taking less so that more weapons can be around him. Dak can move away from that Hall of Very Good and get into Hall of Fame category by just saying, hey, I don't need 60, 65 million. Give me 50 million. 50 million. That is a massive number. Give me 50 million, but make sure you sign my weapons around me. I'm not saying Dak needs to take a massive cut, go down to 10 million or 20 million. I'm saying if Dak just came in and just said, hey, I just want to be a top 10 paid quarterback, pay me 50 million a year, but sign the rest of my guys, Dallas is in contention for a Super Bowl. They could go out, they could get them the one thing they were missing on offense, which was a big bruising back. They could get out and get a Derrick Henry if they want to. They could go out and draft a running back or bring in a Saquon Barkley, sign their other guys, renegotiate the contract, but only if this whole thing hinges on how much money does Dak Prescott want. And if Dak Prescott comes in, if I'm Jerry Jones and I sit down with Dak and I'm like, Dak, you're our future. We want to lock you in long term. And he says, if anything comes out with an S sound, he could be like, I like salamanders. I'm letting him go. I'm moving on from him. I am not giving him $60 million a year. I'll give him 50. I will happily give him 50. Make some of the players around, sign some of the players around him so that they can move forward and contend for a Super Bowl. But you can't have a decent quarterback. Dak is a decent quarterback. People say Dak's a scrub. No, he's not. He is an MVP contending quarterback. But he's asking for Hall of Fame money. You cannot pay him Hall of Fame money for Hall of Very Good.
So you're essentially saying you don't think Dak Prescott is worth 60 million at this moment?
I don't think there are maybe 3 or 4 quarterbacks that worth 60 million a year. Patrick Mahomes, I will give him anything he wants. My firstborn, my step cousin, and everything in between. Yeah. He can get he can ask for whatever he wants. If you give him weapons, he wins. You take weapons away from him, he wins. You know, you can break his ankle, he still wins. Mm-hmm. Injured, it doesn't matter. You give Patrick Mahomes anything he wants. And guess what? That $500 million contract, when you look at it, has become a very team-friendly contract. I would pay Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow of the Cincinnati Bengals, yes, I would. Crazy enough, last year, no one wanted to pay Lamar Jackson. I would pay Lamar Jackson. But I am not, that's where kind of the line ends. I'm not paying $50 million for Dak. I'm not paying $60 million for Dak. I'm not paying $60 million for Kirk Cousins. I'm not paying $60 million. I'm not even paying $60 million for Josh Allen. And he's a very, very good quarterback. Josh Allen has Hall of Fame caliber skills. He may not have won, but he has Hall of Fame caliber skills. I got Dak behind him on that one, but I'm still not paying $60 million. When you look at the percentage of salary cap, that is a crippling number for most teams, except for Kansas City. Kansas City, you can lose a Tyreek Hill, bring in lesser receivers, and they still win. Travis Kelce can get older, not as productive, they still win. You can bring in a brand new offensive line, what they did a couple years ago, and they still win. That's the guy. Oh, yeah, I'm paying him whatever he wants. matter of fact, I'm paying his baby's mama. I'm paying everyone when it comes to Patrick Mahomes. I'm just saying. But I'm 60 million cripples a team. So that's my take as a Cowboy fan.
Yeah.
You didn't think babies, mamas, and everything else would be included in this conversation,
No, I
did
didn't. Alrighty, guys. Well, with that, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to dive into some of our oddities of the day.
For the best and latest podcasts available anywhere, go to the podcast app on your cell phone and type in GSMC to access free content-rich podcasts on health and wellness, book reviews, sports, entertainment, relationships, social media, movies, technology, finance, and even weird news. Subscribe and download the GSMC Podcast Network's family of shows, available everywhere podcasts are found.
Alrighty, guys, welcome back. Earlier, we were discussing the Dallas Cowboys and their free agents. And now we're going to be diving into some of our oddities of the day. I've picked some interesting stories today. I did my hard work yesterday.
She put a little blood, sweat, and tears out there.
I did. I was hard at work yesterday. So our first one is Japan's Naked Man Festival ends after more than 1,000 years.
Okay.
An annual event commonly known as the Naked Man Festival came to an end after nearly 1,000 years due to the declining population in the area. The Somnisai Festival, commonly known as the Naked Man Festival, involves hundreds of loincloth-clad men gathering at the Kokoshichu temple in Oshu to wrestle for ownership of a bag of talisman blessed by the temple's chief priest. The festival, which dates back for more than 1,000 years, is held annually on the 7th day of the Lunar New Year. Daigo Fujinami, chief priest of the
All I'm saying is you picked the one with the Japanese name. I'm just going to point that out to you.
Chief priest of the temple announced that this year's festival, which was held Saturday, was the facility's last. They said the decision is due to the aging of individuals involved in the festival and a shortage of successors. While efforts were made to continue the festival to the best of our abilities in order to prevent last-minute cancellations or disruptions in the future, the decision is to cancel the festival itself has been made. This year's winner was a local resident who is a member of the festival's Preservation Association. They said, "It is sad that the festival is ending. I participated in hopes that it would be a memorable festival."
Okay. One thing, again, I know a lot about Japan and some of these areas. They have a very old population. Mm-hmm. They have a very older but vigorous population. And one of the big problems that they're having in Japan is their population is an aging population. And so some of these festivals you're talking about, monks and priests and all this stuff, this is not the festival you think it is, Faith. It is not the festival of naked men with six-pack abs.
No, I know that.
This is the festival of man boobs and saggy butts. I'm sorry. And so I don't really see these guys as the most, fit, vigorous group of men. So this is not the festival. This is not the festival down at Daytona Beach or any of your spring break festival. This is the old man wrestling festival. that doesn't surprise me that this is kind of going on. This is not like Groundhog Day where you're like, you want to go see Pachitani Phil. You know what? You can go to that festival. Matter of fact, we'll send you on that as an assignment so you can check out the Naked Man Festival and report on it.
I'm okay, really. That's all right. It's over, so
yes, yeah, it's over. Japan's a fascinating place.
Mm-hmm.
I love Japan. Many years ago, I was supposed to move to Japan. Still bitter with my family right to this day, because I had worked out a situation to move to Japan, and it was only a few weeks before I'm supposed to fly out, and then my whole family had a full-on intervention to stop me from moving to Japan, and so I never moved to Japan.
Intervention.
Yes, they were all worried. You know, a lot of Black families don't like to travel outside the U.S. They like to stay home. And so the whole concept of my parents, their pride and joy son moving to another country was just very, very bizarre. Hence, I still ended up moving to another country.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was supposed to move to Japan. And so I know a lot about the Japanese culture. I've always been fascinated with the Japanese culture. An amazing, amazing place. But there are a lot of these type of festivals that have been going on for years and years. But the population has many of the cities, the population has gotten so much older that some of these festivals are being canceled. Or they don't have enough people to participate in some of these festivals that are 100, 200 years old. And so it's kind of a shame. It's a compliment to the society because the Japanese are the people who live the longest, which is kind of cool. But it's also sad that it's a country with a majorly, a population that is definitely aging, and some of the more remote farm type fishing village, the young, they're packing up, they're moving to Tokyo, they're moving to the big cities, and so a lot of these old time villages that are in parts of Japan, they just have an old population. Same, Italy's a lot that way as well, where there's a lot of places where the population has gotten old. So much so in Italy that there are places and towns that will pay you to move there. Right now, they'll hook you up with a place to stay and cash if you move there. So, which is kind of different. Faith is looking at me like, okay. What do you think about moving to Italy?
Yeah.
Italy's nice, but no, there are parts that will pay you to move to Italy. That is dead truth.
I will say though, this is kind of sad because this is something that's been going on for almost 1,000 years, and they're having to cancel it and not do it anymore because nobody's doing it.
Right.
So
it's
sad.
It's like I said, it's because in these villages, the young people are moving out. It's the same here, like in Portugal. I used to have an assistant that used to work for me, and he was talking about how it was really hard. He's really in shape guy, good looking guy, super sharp-witted, everything. And he would talk about how it's hard to find a spouse or significant other that is Portuguese in the area because a lot of the young ladies, once they get a certain age, they've been moving out of the area. Well, that happens in Japan, Italy, and a lot of places as well, where it's just like the young is not staying in the small fishing villages anymore and all the little farming communities. they're moving to the big city where there's more opportunities. And so, it's kind of like that. Even you like take Georgia, for instance. You go to some of these little formerly farming villages, farming towns and cities, they're struggling as well because the young are not staying in these places. They're moving. They're like, forget this. I'm moving to Atlanta. Yeah,
Not where I'm from.
not my girl Faith. But see, you also live in a little bit more affluent, more nicer community. But if you start going to some of those really rural areas of Georgia and Alabama, the young is like, get me the heck out of here.
See, I experienced the opposite because, like, I grew up where I live now is not where I grew up. And I grew up in a very, like, small rural town in Georgia. And a lot of people stay there. Not a lot of people move. That's what I've experienced in, like, small rural towns. They stay.
See, I have friends of mine and family members that live in that southern part of Alabama, which is closer to in Georgia, and places that I grew up going to as a kid. You can't find any of the kids that you used to play with as a kid because they've moved. They've moved to Atlanta. They've moved, even in Alabama, a lot of those places, those little communities, they've all packed up and moved. But it is really prevalent in places like Japan and Italy and things of that nature where people are moving to the major cities. There's just way more opportunities for a person, who's trying to make it in life, than to stay in
I think another reason why is because a lot of people in, like, my generation aren't having kids. Like, not a lot of people are having children anymore, and I think that's a big part of it as well.
Yes. Oh, yes. That is definitely, that's something that the U.S. is dealing with. That's that Europe is dealing with. Gone are the days when you're like in the 20s and the 30s and the 40s where it's like, oh, Ethel May had 9 kids. I'm one of 8 kids. I'm one of 7 kids. You've heard these stories, right?
Yeah.
And, now it's like we had 1 kid and we stopped. How many families do you know had 5, 6, 7, 8 kids?
Not a lot.
Not a lot.
I mean, like, my grandparents, my great-grandmother, I believe she either had 4 or 5 kids, I think.
My dad I think it's 9 brothers and sisters for him. That's unreal. 9? Look at you.
No.
See, you can't even fathom
want
that.
one. I don't want any children, so 9 is just like, ooh.
I remember I'm a big MMA guy. I used to train MMA and all this stuff. And the Gracie family, they had so many kids that I remember they were saying, like, they ended up losing one and didn't even realize he was gone. He had just packed up and moved with a cousin or an aunt. He was gone forever before they even found out he was gone. And they were like, okay, go ahead and stay. It's like there's so many damn kids that you lost a kid and didn't even realize the kid was gone.
Yeah.
or you just gave one away. Imagine that. That is not today's world. You're 1, 2. If you see someone with 3 kids, it's kind of like, woo.
Yeah.
Little Timmy was an accident. Little Timmy was not planned.
That's me.
Hey, just like right here. You
I
know
was
what
the
I mean?
accident.
There was some easy listening on the radio and too much booze or something, but there's something. That's 3. Now think back, back then, 5, 6, 7 kids, that wasn't so strange back then. That's gone away. And places
I
like
will
that,
say, a lot of the people that I graduated high school with are, like, having babies now, and it's just like, They're just like popping them out too.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, it is. Isn't it weird when you start seeing your friends? I'm going to tell you what's going to mess you up, Faith. First off, take care of yourself, girl. Moisturize.
Oh, no, because I have something to say about that. I grew up in a small southern town, and all these girls used to make fun of me because I wouldn't lay out in the sun and tan, and I wouldn't go get in the tanning bed, and they would make fun of how
Testify, sister.
pasty
Testify.
white I am. And now it's like, I don't have any wrinkles on my face, and some of the girls that I went to school with are starting to get wrinkles on their face, and they're in their 20s. And it's like, who's laughing now? That's why I wore sunscreen.
Faith, you ain't even seen it all. I have a class reunion coming up. I think it's like my 35th. I think it's like my 35th or something like that. I'm afraid to go. Do you know why?
Why?
Because some of my classmates look so bad, I don't know who they are. And so, like, I went home a few years ago, and I went to this bar that has been popular in my town. I didn't really want to go to the bar, but it was this girl. She saw me, and she was like, "Tate," and I was like, "Hey, how you doing?" And it's like, "I haven't seen you in years," and all this stuff. And I'm like, "Excuse me, who are you?" And she's like, I'm Becky."
It's me, Becky.
It's Becky. And her name wasn't Becky. I don't even know what her name was, but it was like, oh man, I don't even know who you are. I'm looking at her. I'm trying to figure out who Becky is. And then eventually she got mad. And she was like, "Maybe I shouldn't have effing remembered you." And I'm like, I feel so bad. You know, there's been a few times on Facebook where there's like a guy, and he's like, guy or a girl, and it's like, "Hey Tate, how's it going?" And then I look at the picture and I'm like, who the heck is this? Because they don't look the same. People, you know, they don't look like they did. And you're going to see more of that as you get older. As you keep moisturizing and staying out of that sun, you're going to start seeing how many of your friends did not age as well as you did. And
who's laughing at Casper now?
I think we got issues going on here, sister. Don't be calling Faith no Casper.
I used to get picked on all the time for how like translucent white my skin was, and all my friends were like, "You need to like get in the tanning bed and everything like that." And I was like, "No, I'm gonna wear sunscreen." Now they're looking like Jimmy Dean sausages.
Now they're looking rough. But you know, I'm leery about going to my class reunion, not because it's like I want to big time somebody or anything like it's like, man, I don't want to offend anyone. That breaks my heart to be like, oh, someone remembers you so fondly and they can't wait to see you, and then you see them and you have no clue who they are.
Yeah.
And you're looking at them, you're trying, and you like, nope, I have no clue who this person is.
Mm-hmm.
And they're happy to see you. That's, you feel like a jerk in a way. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, you know, that is a hard thing. So,
yeah.
All right. I don't mean to tell us to go on break, but we got two stories. We got two stories to cover on the comeback.
Alrighty, guys. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk some more about some oddities of the day. Alrighty, guys, welcome back. Earlier we were talking about some oddities of the day, and we've got a couple more for you guys before we close out the show.
I'm sorry, Faith.
I'm gonna have to like turn off the chat on Zoom.
Ooh. Faith and I have our own little side show here when during breaks.
Oh gosh. Okay. So, a 4'10" Syracuse mom blends in with students before assaulting a teacher in a classroom. A Syracuse mom made headlines after bursting into her daughter's classroom and assaulting a teacher, breaking several bones in front of 25 shocked children.
Oh, wow. Wait, whoa. I didn't know she went Jackie Chan on her. Oh, she broke bones?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I thought she was talking about like hit her with a 3-piece hot and spicy and then bounce
No.
out. I didn't know she broke bones.
Yeah, I know. Lenzina Sutton, accompanied by her mother Roxanne Thompson, attempted to enter Lincoln Middle School after her daughter was disciplined for alleged dishonesty. Despite Tompkins being turned away, Sutton, disguised with a hood, managed to blend in with students. She proceeded to attack the teacher, causing severe injuries, including a concussion and broken facial bones.
Lenzina, the Terminator Sutton? Is she fighting on the next UFC card? She breaking bones. Oh, damn.
Sutton was later arrested and charged with burglary and assault. The incident, rooted in alleged unaddressed bullying against Sutton's daughter, prompted officials to condemn the violence and emphasize support for educators. Listen.
Mama regulating up in here.
Yeah.
Of course, they're saying among shock onlookers. Listen, I'm 50. I'm sitting in that class and the Terminator comes in and starts snapping bones and breaking necks. I'm going to be sitting there like, oh, whoa.
Yeah, Mama was getting it.
It'd be different if it was like, you know, she hit her with a hook, broke her jaw. Okay, they didn't say broke her jaw. She broke bones.
Facial bones and gave her a concussion.
Ooh. See, Mama had the wrong career. She can't be working at Chipotle when the UFC is having events every weekend. Am I wrong on this one?
Could you imagine going back to school after your mom beat the living crap out of your teacher?
Mama's in the WWE. I'm sorry.
I would not want to go back to school if my mom did that. I would be so embarrassed.
Embarrass my butt. I'm never being bad. I'm the best kid on the planet now. I just watch Mama break bones. You think I'm breaking curfew? I'm coming home. I got good grades. I'm on time. I'm cleaning my room. The Terminator is my mama. I am not doing anything. I'm the best kid in the neighborhood after seeing Mama snap off Mrs. Peachtree. She done whooped up Miss Peachtree. I don't even know who Miss Peachtree is. I just gave her a name.
I feel so bad for that teacher too, though. Like,
whoa, that is crazy. It'd be different if she nailed Miss Peachtree with with a 2-piece combo, and Miss Peachtree went to sleep. But she broke her jaw, gave her a concussion. She probably got whiplash and scoliosis. It's all bad.
Teachers do not get paid enough for the things that they do.
No, nobody gets paid. Listen, Conor McGregor don't get paid enough to get beat like that. You understand? She done broke her eye socket, broke her jaw. Oh, no. Listen, Terminator, you can't be whooping up on teachers like that. Maybe, listen, open hand. Maybe slap him a little bit. But you can't be. That's way more than dropping. You know how I always talk about dropping an elbow on somebody? That's beyond that. That's the next level. I know it's not a fun. If you're Miss Peachtree, if you're Miss Peachtree, this is not a fun. If she's Miss Peachtree, if you watching this, listen to this, or watching this story, I apologize for laughing at the beat down that you took. But damn.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and you know how I just gave them their own names. Miss Peachtree is the teacher, the Terminator is mama. I know you gave the names, but I didn't move on from those other names. Poor Miss Peach. I'm just picturing her just getting beat down. She probably had those cat glasses on those old teachers used to have, and she just took a beating. And the mom was 4'10".
Huh?
The mom was 4'10". I'm sorry, Faith. I know you're a part of the itty bitty crew, okay? But she's like little Sonic the Hedgehog, just ripping through the class.
She's literally only an inch shorter than me.
Oh, I know.
Are you calling me Sonic the Hedgehog?
Yes. You got some power in that voice of yours. Why do you think you're on air with me? It's not because you're some little pushover. You got some pipes to you. You got a strong voice. Those little compact little sticks of dynamite. No. Mm-mm.
I want to know if the teacher like even tried to attempt to fight back, or if she just laid there and took it.
Faith, when somebody cracks you in the jaw and gives you a concussion, the only thing you can do is called lay there and take a nap. It is nap time in that class. Everyone watched Miss Peachtree get knocked out. Miss Peachtree was laying there, rockabye baby. It was over.
This was in middle school too, in front of all those kids. Middle school is already like awful as it is, and then you watch some lady come in and beat the mess out of your teacher, like.
Oh, everybody talking about. Okay, I didn't give the woman a dang name, Miss Peachtree. We're protecting the innocent by calling her Miss Peachtree. But if you are in middle school and you watch one of your teachers get dog walked, she got from pillar to post up in class. First off, you're looking at her all wrong. That girl that's in her class, she got street cred now. She got street cred.
Yeah, no kid will ever bully her again, for sure.
Faith, if you're in 6th grade with her, are you trying to take her lunch money? Are you trying to take her cookies? Are you trying to take her Mountain Dew?
I won't even look at her. Not even a.
And I'm gonna tell you something. I got a lot of love for your mom. Don't you tell your mom to go have a stern talking to or anything to her mom. You don't even keep your mom out of range of her. That girl got street cred. Everyone in class, they're just partying because everyone knows you got backup. Mama will come to class. Mama will come to school, whoop up the teacher and the principal. Nobody's messing with that kid again. You pay homage, you dropping off a Mountain Dew, some Skittles, hoping that you don't get on her bad side. I'm sorry, that's the way I see it. That girl got major street cred because the Terminator is her mama.
Yeah. I don't.
Her mama is in an elimination chamber trying to get ready for WrestleMania, okay? Ooh, that's a rough one.
I would be scared of that lady. And the fact that she is only an inch shorter than me and broke face bones and gave a lady a concussion.
That's the Tasmanian devil.
I'm not
That's Sonic the
saying
Hedgehog.
what she did was right, but I'm kind of impressed. Because, like,
Listen, as you've noticed, I haven't scolded mom either. Because I'm worried she's going to get a Delta flight to Portugal and whoop my butt. I ain't getting on her bad side. No. No.
I need to get some lessons from her. I've never been in a fight before. Get some.
Oh, that's sad. But you got to get in at least one fight.
Why?
That's just a rule.
Why?
Listen, a fight prepares you for life. You don't want to be, let's say somebody comes up and you and your boyfriend or y'all are out on the town and something goes down. You don't want to have your boyfriend by himself. You gotta be able to get his back. Just in case something pops up.
My face is my job.
You don't want to mess up the money maker. That's another reason why. You don't want to mess up the money maker. You don't want to be like Miss Peachtree who will end up in a concussion because you couldn't defend yourself. I bet you Miss Peachtree was the same as you. I'd never been in a fight until Sonic the Hedgehog showed up into my class. Now she got a concussion with ice on her head.
I'm fine because I carry safety stuff with me wherever I go. So
yeah, safety stuff in your purse over in the corner when Sonic the Hedgehog walks into your class and you don't got time to get to it and she done snatched you up and all you can do is just take that shot. I need to be able to hit him with a few shots and then stagger back to my purse.
Listen, I feel like when my adrenaline kicks in, I feel like I could give the 2-piece combo,
Faith, Miss Peachtree thought the same thing. She thought just a little bit of adrenaline, and then next thing you know, she got an ice pack on her head.
Well, I'll be on an even.
She in the ER.
I'll be on an even playing field with her because she's only. I got a height advantage on this lady.
Ooh, you got a 1-inch height advantage. The Tasmanian devil. She just walked in, ate the door, gave the teacher a concussion, and then got her kid and went to Sizzler. I ain't messing with her. Have you noticed? We got Becky and we got Sizzler in there somehow, one way or another.
Becky always makes an appearance on every show.
Every show, Becky is in full effect here. Dang. I know, it's when you really think about it, it's such a sad story. But dang, she beat her down that bad. They said they broke bones.
Yeah.
Plural, not a bone.
Bones.
Yes. Sonic, Mama the Terminator, just whooped Miss Peachtree down. Yes, I'm telling you, from now on out, she changed her name to Miss Peachtree because she don't want Mama to find her anymore. Are you going to any PTA meetings after that beatdown?
Am I doing what?
If you're the teacher, if you're that teacher, once you get over the concussion, you go through concussion protocol. You've been to the hospital. You've gotten the bones fixed. Now it's parents teachers conference week. Are you going?
No.
PTSD. She's twitching in the corner. Just like,
I don't think she'll ever go back to teaching, honestly. I wouldn't.
Listen, if I'm in the class next to her, I'm packing up my pencils and erasers and I'm retiring. I'm taking severance. Because I'm gonna get that girl next year in class.
Yep.
Nope.
Nope.
I'm letting her go.
Oh gosh. Alrighty, guys. Well, with that, we're going to close out the show. Thank you for tuning into the Andrew Tate Show, presented by GSMC Sports Network. Your support means a lot to us, so please remember to subscribe to the show and leave a positive review. It really does make a difference. We also invite you to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram for more content and updates. Thank you once again. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Peace out, Miss Peachtree.
Hope you feel better, Miss Peachtree.
Oh, God, that's hilarious.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet, damn ain't